What is going on, my Houston Texans family? Hope you all are having a blessed Friday. Happy Halloween to the ones that celebrate it. Go out there, have fun, be safe, call a Uber if you need it. If you don't celebrate it, absolutely fine. Shine your light. Today, we're going to be talking about the Houston Texans versus Denver Broncos this Sunday in Houston. Currently, the Houston Texans are 1.5 point favorites. Now, they did start as underdogs. However, the recent news of Pat Surtain not being in this game changed the numbers. Now here we are. I am excited for this matchup. I am a little nervous, but you know what I say. If you are scared, do not come outside. The Houston Texans have another opportunity in front of them to prove to the NFL world that they can not only hang with the best in the NFL, because that's what the Denver Broncos are, ladies and gentlemen. They're on a 5 game winning streak, but you can beat the best in the NFL. I cannot wait. But before we get into all this, episode brought to you and powered by Sleeper. The NFL season is here, which means you now have a chance to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Football has never been more exciting than it is now with players like CJ Stroud, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson. Pick on stats for these stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to a 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you could win big. Use promo code 713HOU and you get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. If you don't want to put a deposit down, you don't need to because Sleeper's giving you a free $20 entry. Just type in 713HOU. Ladies and gentlemen, this could potentially be the biggest win of the season for the Houston Texans. This reminds me of the situation 2 years ago where you were facing the Denver Broncos at home. Russell Wilson, rookie CJ Stroud, Sean Payton, D'Amico Ryans, and the game ended on a Jimmy Ward interception in the end zone. That was a moment right there in that season where we said this Houston Texans team is legit. Not only did they beat a Super Bowl winning head coach, but they beat a damn good quarterback at that time, right? Russell Wilson. And I feel like the Texans could potentially be in that scenario again this Sunday where you once again take out a very good offensive minded head coach in Sean Payton, and you could potentially take out one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL, Bo Nix, who I am a huge fan of. Now, the keys to the game, it's going to start with this offensive line. The Denver Broncos front four, led by Nick Bonito, it's nasty. It's the best in the NFL. There's no other way to put it. I believe they are 10 sacks ahead of whoever is in second place. They get to the quarterback. This might be the Houston Texans' toughest challenge all season. I know Seattle has a damn good front four, but the Denver front four might be better. They have a good edge duo, good defensive tackles, and you got Nick Bonito, man, who could just get to the quarterback at will. This offensive line has an opportunity to announce itself and solidify itself, you know, as a viable option, viable, reliable unit for this Houston Texan offense. And all our doubt about this unit, it really does go away, if we see against the Denver Broncos, they're able to give CJ Stroud time to operate. They're able to create lanes for our running backs. The offensive line is going to show us a lot on Sunday. It's going to let us know if they're ready to take the next step forward or if they're just still trying to figure it out. And when you're one game away from 500, this is a matchup that I am excited to see. I'm nervous, but excited. One thing we do have to monitor, ladies and gentlemen, is rookie running back Woody Marks was limited in practice yesterday with the calf injury. So a lot of us are keeping an eye on that. Woody Marks, whenever he touches the football, something special happens. So we need Woody Marks out there. We need Nick Chubb to, have that, one of those last energy surges, before you retire and show us the vintage Nick Chubb. This is a really good Denver Broncos defense, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I will say though that the recent loss of Pat Surtain, it does change their game plan a little bit because you know who is healthy, who was practicing. That's wide receiver Nico Collins. 12's out there. And the last time um Nico Collins went against the Denver Broncos, he had a lot of success. Take advantage of what's not there, because what's not there is the reigning defensive player of the year and the best cornerback in the NFL in Pat Surtain. Take advantage of their weakness and go at them. Now, that's easier said than done. Getting the ball out quick, I think, is the key to this game. I feel like if the Houston Texans try to have, plays where CJ Stroud is doing 6, 7, 8 step dropbacks, I think the Denver Broncos front four could take advantage. Hopefully, the Houston Texans continue to utilize that 6 offensive linemen. It's something that they use, I believe, 27 times against the San Francisco 49ers, also bringing in a tight end to help your tackles. You might have to do that. It looked like it worked against San Fran. Denver's a whole different animal, right? Number 57 is reported eligible. Blake Fisher. Let's see what you do on Sunday. This offensive line, man, is key to this game. I have no questions about the defense. I'll get to them in a second. But this O-line will determine whether the Houston Texans walk out of NRG with the W. CJ Stroud. We need to see CJ Stroud that we saw last week. And that was getting the ball out quick. That was accurate. That was a quarterback that was in command of his offense, right? You saw the body language, right? We talk about how poor it is. Well, when everything's going right, that body language, is as positive as it could be. We need CJ Stroud to weather the storm on Sunday against the Denver Broncos, because I have no doubt Denver's going to get their moments. They're going to get their moments of momentum. This is one of the best teams in the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. It's that type of game. I really do mean that. This could potentially be the turning point of the season for the Houston Texans. The big win that you have been wanting, that we have been wanting since Cincinnati in year one, it's right here in front of us against the Denver Broncos. Moving to the defensive side, it's staying disciplined. I like to call Bo Nix a chaos quarterback. When things go wrong, he's able to pull a rabbit out of a hat. However, I'm looking at this Denver offense, and they're kind of having the same the conversations around them are the same conversations being, around this Houston Texan offense. Well, we need to see them do it against a good defense, right? The last 2 games, Denver's offense has been rolling. I mean, 70 points in the last 2 games. You see who they go against. One of the worst defenses in the NFL, the New York Giants, but they put up 30 in the fourth quarter. And then last week against Dallas, the worst defense in the NFL, when Bo Nix puts up 4 tutties. This is why I think this game is going to go back and forth. It's going to go ugly. Both sides are going to have their moments because both of these defenses are elite. Elite. Danielle Hunter needs to show us why he's one of the highest paid edge rushers on Sunday. Will Anderson Jr. has been feasting. Will Anderson Jr. is leading this team in sacks with 5, but it never feels like both of these guys are going at the same time. That needs to change on Sunday. Get to the quarterback. Get him on his back. These defensive tackles, the sack production that we saw last year and the year before, it's not here. It's crazy that the Houston Texans have one of the best defenses in the NFL, but they're middle in the pack of sacks. Get to the quarterback. Put Bo Nix on his ass. The passing attack from Bo Nix, I'm not really worried, right? Cortland Sutton, Derek Stingley. They have Troy Franklin. I like Kamari Lassiter on him. Jalen Petrie against Marvin Mims. However, Marvin Mims, he might not play, got a concussion late in the football game. That's their speedster. That's their deep play guy. However, Troy Franklin out of Oregon, one of my draft crushes, he had a couple of nice plays against the Dallas Cowboys. I believe he had 2 touchdowns. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be which team doesn't turn the ball over. There's going to be 3-and-outs. There's going to be punts. But which team is going to win the turnover battle and which offense is going to take advantage? Being at home, I feel like the Houston Texans could be able to do that. And I will say this, well, as we're talking about the man behind me, CJ Stroud, it feels like something's changed in him. That confidence is starting to come back, right? And he said it himself, when I'm rolling, I'm one of the best in the league. Could he be rolling? We'll see. But man, this offensive line needs to be protective on Sunday. They need to be nasty. They need to be disrespected that Denver's walking in their building. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I have the Houston Texans winning this matchup. I'm going to go 20-17. It's going to be right down to the wire. Kaimi Fairbairn, 30-yard field goal. Shout out to Sleeper. Episode brought to you, powered by them. Get a 100% match up to $100. Use promo code 713HOU. You guys have a very, very blessed day.